Hey everybody, welcome to the shop. David Burns, good to be with you today. Going to talk some beekeeping things for you. Hope you enjoy my video. Thanks for watching today. Hope you're having a great day. And this video is being made the day before Christmas Eve. So if I don't get a chance to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas in the next video or two before you have Christmas, hope you have a great time with your family and all. Let's get started today. I want to talk today about some of the things in beekeeping that we can make ourselves, but it seems to be easier to buy them nowadays. Now, when I started beekeeping billions of years ago, I started beekeeping way before the Dead Sea even got sick. That's how long I've been keeping bees. So I want to show you one thing in particular, a couple of things. I'll give you examples of what I'm talking about here. Look at this. This is a little mini queen rearing box. It's like a mating nuke. And so it's made out of styrofoam, and as you can see, let me open it up here. It has cute little tiny frames that bees draw out, and I've tried these before in the field, these little ones like this, and they work. They'll get the job done for you. Little compartment here if you want to hold some queens or something like that. But anyway, so when I first got into queen rearing, raising my own queens, companies like this didn't make these kind of things. Everything was kind of made by woodenware. Anyway, I made my own. And so what I did was I just took 3/4 inch plywood and I made my own little mini mating nukes like this because I've raised a lot of queens in my life. And so I thought this would be a good way to do it because I theorized that it would be a smaller frame. There'd probably be about 4 frames in here. And when I got ready to see that she's, laying well and everything, I could go in here, remove her, put her in a little queen cage and ship her off, right, to the customer. But there were a couple of things that really snagged me on these. I had about 10 or 20 of these that I was trying out in my apiary yard raising queens, and I didn't really like these, it turned out. I have other mating nukes that I've used forever, and they're 5-frame nukes. And so I really like raising queens in 5-frame nucleuses. That's 9 inches wide, they hold 5 frames. Anyway, so I tried these. I didn't really have a good time with them. A couple of things happened. The bees actually grew too fast in these. I didn't like the proprietary size frames that I had to make for these. So these little frames here, I don't have any on me, but they didn't fit in any other boxes, like a medium or a super or a deep or anything like that. It just fits that, and that was all. So that was kind of a pain. And then I don't know why, but the bees were more defensive in these. Now, it wasn't the lineage, it wasn't the line at the time because I was raising the same lineage in other 5-frame mating nooks and they weren't defensive toward me. But bees in here were very defensive. I had, like I said, all 20 of these that I was experimenting with. I think I have a YouTube video where I was experimenting with these, but they just were so stinging on my fingers when I was trying to get the queen out of there. And then this is a top that I designed years ago, and I use these tops on my 5-frame mating nukes. I've made videos about these tops, by the way. See how they kind of spring load them? The ends are bent. And so what that does is it creates a little tension so that when you set the other side down, the edges kind of go into the wood and keep it spring loaded down. That's an easy way for me to make a fast lid on boxes that I'm getting into quite often, like mating nooks or something. So my point is that today, I think we've gone into an era where we can easily buy everything already pre-made. And I don't like that entirely. It's convenient, and there's times I like it. But the part about beekeeping that I think I love equally as much as the bees is the equipment and having the resources to make my own stuff and to utilize the unique feel of just creating your own things, like making your own little boxes like this for your bee yard. I don't know, there's just something about using your hands. So to me, beekeeping is more than just bees. I know it's what a lot of beekeepers, when you buy your own stuff already pre-made, pre-painted, assembled, and it comes and you pour your bees in, then I know that's the only thing you're kind of drawn to. It's just like, I need to keep my bees alive. But for those of us that have been keeping bees a long time, even before, we had the commerce was, you had to kind of make it yourself. You could buy unassembled equipment back when I first started, but there was nothing that you could buy that was assembled. Nothing. You had to buy it and build it. I'm serious. Everybody that was a beekeeper when I started had to buy unassembled pieces of wood with a box of nails and build everything yourself. Now it's pretty easy to take something out of the box and just pour bees in it. I mean, even the frames are assembled. Well, let me show you a couple other things as examples. Let me show you this. I'll get down to this one. All right. Look at this. Now, do you know what this is? Some of you may not know exactly what this is. Leave a comment in the comment section if you think you know what this is right here. This is actually, I'll give you some clues. You may say, well, it could be anything. Yeah, okay, so far it can, right? Let me get some other stuff out of the way. But where did it go? I saw it, here it is. Now this will help you know what it is, especially for those of you that are more advanced beekeepers. Aha, it requires this. Now, do you know what it is? So you have a big sheet of metal. You have like a 2-inch spacer, wooden spacer thingy, and you have a queen excluder, and you have a slot right here to slide this into there. Now, do you know what it is? It is a cloak board. Now, where did that go? Here it is. Now, in my booklet, John Zawisczak, Dr. John Zawisczak and I wrote a booklet on raising quality queen bees years ago. I forget what year it was. It's been out for a little while. So we actually did a lot of the work here in this shop back then. But anyway, John and I wrote this booklet because at the time there was just no books available that were very concise and very descriptive on how to raise queens. There were books out there, don't get me wrong, but they seemed to have a lot of material that you had to wade through, and they didn't really get down to the nitty-gritty details of actually how to do the process of the grafting tool and how many days and so we went together and we put this book together. My point is that if you turn to page, what page is this in the back here? Oh gosh, I think it's beautiful colors, by the way. Oh, you can buy this book on our website, or you can get it free if you want just the PDF download from the University of Arkansas. I'll try my best to leave a link to both the hard copy you can get from us or the PDF file. But if you don't see it, it's right before Christmas and I'm trying to get this video done so I can take a break. So I may not do as good as getting all the links in there, but I'll try. Anyway, page 13 in the back of the book has a whole section here. Is it 13? Oh, I'm one page over. All right, here we go. There we go, yeah. Cloak Board, what does that say? Cloak Board method of queen rearing. So we give an example. We go step by step. When you slide this in, when you slide it out, when you take the top deep and then you reverse it over here, when you want the bees to fly in and out of all that. It's a little complicated. So John and I took the time to really break it down. You know, that's some things that people say about me is that I have a way of breaking things down so people can understand it. So we broke the cloak board down in a method that's very understandable. By the way, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to raise queens this winter coming up, probably in the month of January. I'm doing bee biology. I'm going to help you guys understand basic bee biology during my live stream starting the day after Christmas. And then after I get through that, I'm jumping right into queen rearing on my live stream. So that'll be good because I believe if people can start raising queens, it gives you so much more of an upper hand in understanding bees, but also in managing your bees. Because if you lose your queen and if you already got some queens that you're raising, you're not having to wait to actually buy one. So that's coming up. Anyway, so this is called a cloak board created by Mr. Cloak many years ago, a way to raise queens. So as you notice, I made my own because I don't know if they were for sale when I made this many years ago. But anyway, they may have been, but I made my own. You know, there's places online where you can get the blueprint. Bee Source, I think, has a lot of blueprints online. But anyway, I built mine this way, and you can see I had a little problem because I would slide my metal in, and because metal wouldn't stay flat, it went into this groove as it slid in, and then it would bow and wouldn't go into that back groove. So I built this little ramp. See, I think beekeepers need to be creative this way. This ramp caused the metal to go right into that groove. And I just figured that out because I was like, how do I solve this problem? But today, everything changes, you know. And so today what we have is companies that sell a cloak board, and it's different. It looks like a bottom board. I bought this one, and as you can see, it looks like a bottom board, but it has queen excluder material. I know you'll ask me this, can I just use a plain bottom board? No, you cannot. Bottom board has, if it's screen, it has 1/8-inch hardware cloth. That's too narrow for bees to pass. On a cloak board, you have to have it where bees can pass through. Honeybees, the worker bees, can pass through the queen excluder material, but the queen can't. That's what you're after. So you have to have something you can make your own. Take a bottom board, rip the screen out, and then take a queen excluder, a plastic one, staple it in there, make your own. And then I like this design better than what I made because you don't have to line anything up. You just slide, it'd be slid in, but there'll be a box up here, but you just slide that and cover it up. There's no grooves, I guess. So I like that better. So what do you do about the metal? You can make your own metal. I've got a big roll of white aluminum flasking. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And you use it around the soffits of your house and everything. And so you could easily cut a piece. You can buy rolls of this at, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, rolls of the aluminum white. It lasts forever. And you can bend it. You can bend it with your fingers if you don't have a bender. So it's real easy for all of us, if we wanted to kind of make our own equipment like this. So if you think, where do I get a cloak board? You could probably buy a cloak board, I'm sure, at all the major bee companies, but it doesn't take much. You just need, what's that, 1.5 inch spacer board or bottom board, and then modify a bottom board. If you have an extra one laying around, put a piece of metal in there. My point is, there was a time when we had to make our own stuff. And now it's just so easily made already. I just took a queen excluder. Back then, they didn't have plastic queen excluders when I made this. And I just put screws to hold it in there and made my metal go in and out. I know. So the other things that I wanted to show you real quick about making your own things. Now, I made this for my own self many, many, many years ago. And there wasn't anything like this at the time. So I just racked my brain. How do I feed my bees on top? I came up with a Burns feeder board. And many of you like this. Many of you have purchased this. And you lay it on top of the hive in the fall or in the spring. You're going to need this in the spring, 42 days before the flowers start blooming here in Illinois. I'll be putting this on sugar water 1-to-1, getting my foragers all ready for 42 days out. So I use that 42-day math to help me have foragers so I can get more honey produced in the first few days of spring. That's amazing. The other thing I want to show you is, of course, the Winter Be Kind board. Another thing I invented and created. Candy boards have been about years and decades, well, a century before I was born, I think. And anyway, I took old bee books and followed what they were doing on making candy boards. And I came up with a slight modification of candy boards and called this the Winter Be Kind. I added my own mixture of sugar, water, and then Honeybee Healthy, amino bee boosters, and protein powder in here to help bees have protein. Not a lot. I'm not dousing the bees with protein in the winter, but enough to help them sustain themselves through the winter. And then insulation. That's key too. It took us about a little over a year, almost 2 years to get this recipe, the mixture just right. When you buy these from us, you can buy the empty boards or the full boards already with candy in them. And you just put them on your hive like this, and the bees will eat it. In fact, let me show you a video right here of my friend Patrick. I think he filmed this just today or yesterday. Watch this as his bees have eaten all their candy board up and it's bone dry.
Today is December 23rd, 2024. I put this Winter Be Kind on December 15th. You can see there's bees at the opening. This is what the inside of the hive looks like after 1 week. And there's a whole lot of bees in here. I just thought people might want to see this. I'm really impressed with this Winter Be Kind.
We have these, we're putting these online as we get more available, so check our website out if you're still in need of a Winter Be Kind to help your bees make it through winter. So we have a lot of leverage as beekeepers. We don't always have to just buy things from other people, because here's the deal. Sometimes when you're in a bind as a beekeeper and you need something, it's going to take you maybe 5 days or 2 weeks to get it if you order it online from a bee company. They may not be able to ship you something right out. They may be out of it. And you might be thinking, but I need it now. It's good to have the skills to go into your shop and do a little woodworking and make what you need to make it happen. Sometimes there's a problem with your equipment. You have to modify it. And so you do need to have a certain amount of woodworking skills, I think, to sometimes keep the hive going. And it doesn't take, you don't have to be a master craftsman or anything, or a carpenter, but I think you're going to find that it's going to give you a lot of leverage if you learn how to do a little bit of woodworking and creating some things yourself without having to buy everything already pre-made. I know we live in a throwaway economy where it's easier just to buy things already put together. I get that. And sometimes, hey, that's easier for me a lot of times. But on the other hand, I do like using my hands to make things. Believe it or not, we used to make our own frames. And I got to tell you now, I like frames that are already assembled and made. I mean, we used to cut our own wood to make frames. That's how we just, yeah. So it is more fun to sometimes utilize your time more wisely by buying little things like that that are already put together. You can buy unassembled frames where the pieces are cut already and you just have to assemble it. And that oftentimes saves beekeepers a lot of money. I've made videos for you guys where I'm putting frames together. It's not that hard to do. I made a little jig for it. All the pieces fit in there. So one of the things I want to talk about is that it seems like there's scuttlebutt going around. Scuttlebutt is a cool word. It means that I hear something, I can't really tell you who it's from. It's just the scuttlebutt. It's kind of the gossip at the water fountain at the office, water cooler. But I don't know. This is going to be disturbing if it's true. The scuttlebutt is that a lot of bees are dying, and a lot of bees will die this winter. I don't know if that's scuttlebutt is true or not, but it might be. And if it is, we might come out of winter with not many bees. That's alarming. And I've heard the scuttlebutt. You know, some of you have told me about it too. Yeah, I've heard it. I know. I talk to beekeepers. I understand it. We'll see. You know, some people say that we are going to be suffering from something in 2025 that's going to reduce our bees coming out of the spring. But I don't know. We'll see. We don't want to jump to fear and doubt and worry. I've already encouraged you guys not to fall for that. Here's the thing about that, though. I don't care if all my bees die. I'm a beekeeper, and in 2025, I'll be a beekeeper. All right. I'm going to get more bees. If something happens, some fluky thing happens and all the bees die, we're going to still be able to make bees. We're still going to be okay. So don't freak out. I mean, beekeeping to me, I know it boils down to the bees, but really beekeeping to me is more than the bees themselves. Beekeeping to me is the community of beekeepers. It's having fun with the woodenware. It's the joy of working out in nature with the greatest possible little creatures. You know, it's just so fun. It's this incredible honeybee that we all manage. And so we have so much invested in beekeeping, our time, our money, our education. We've learned so much about bees. And so don't despair. If you have a hard time getting your bees through winter, and don't get frustrated, you know, don't throw the towel in and say, oh gosh, I'm not going to do this anymore because I just can't get my bees through the winter. I'm not a real good beekeeper. The best of beekeepers lose their bees in the wintertime. It happens. 50% of bees die in the wintertime. So we're doing the best we can. So don't despair if that scuttlebutt turns out to be true. We just really don't know. So my point is, I want you guys to be self-sufficient in beekeeping. So self-sufficient in beekeeping means that, number one, we have to ourselves know enough about bees that we don't always have to rely on others to tell us how to manage our bees. And number two, we have to have skills that in case we can't buy the materials that we need to keep bees, that we can be creative enough to make our own little mini mating nooks, our own little cloak boards, or our own little hives even, you know, our nooks and all. We need to have a level of self-sufficiency in beekeeping that we can make it happen. You know, even if you don't have an extractor, you can still get honey out of a hive. Yeah, it's not pretty, but I've done it before. I made a video once on the crush method, where you can just scrape all the honey all out of your frames or off your plastic frames, and you can just crush it and let it drain through a cheesecloth. And so I don't know, I'm kind of like I'm not really a heavy duty prepper, but I do believe in self-sufficiency. And so I like thinking that if something happened, you know, God forbid, but if something happened with our economy or in our world, you know, some kind of catastrophe or something, I want to be more self-sufficient. I want to be able to get along and be able to make it. And so I'm always thinking of ways that, how do I survive in case something goes bad? How can I do it? So sometimes I think that with beekeeping. That's why I'm glad I've got some skills to make my own hives if I need to make my own little things to make things happen, even harvesting my honey out of my own hive myself. You know, I can do that. I can scrape and squeeze, and it's called the crush method. And, you know, nowadays it's easier to buy things. We can buy a Flo Hive. I have a Flo Hive. I bought a Flo Hive. And so that just takes it to the extreme opposite, where now we can buy a hive and all you have to do is turn a crank and the honey flows out. And so that's just the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's bad. I like that concept. In a pinch, when you just need a jar of honey, that's easy. But beekeeping is really getting in there and enjoying the equipment, enjoying the community, enjoying the bees, enjoying the learning and the hands-on of building when it all comes together, I think it makes us a more well-rounded person. And when we can do a lot more of the things in beekeeping than just be somebody that has bees in a box that we hope stay alive. I've been thinking about something that happened to me a couple of days ago. My middle son, Seth, and I were at some relatives' home, and my wife too. But we were there visiting, and Seth is in his 30s. He's a Marine, and he was there, and an elderly lady walked in, and all the chairs were full. And Seth immediately got up and he said, "Oh, here, you can have my chair." And when he did that, I was like, "Oh, good." He remembered everything I ever taught him. He probably learned that in the Marines too. But respect, I think respect is powerful. My dad raised me to respect other people and other people's time, other people's possessions. And I think that's important. I think that's something that we're seeing go away. It's not being passed down or something. And so when we learn to respect each other as beekeepers, that's powerful. And so I remember my dad teaching me that if you're walking up to a door, somebody's behind you, it's respectful for you to open the door and let them go first. So it's not a matter if it's a man or a woman or anything like that. It's just a matter of whoever gets to the door first should be respectful enough to open the door and let somebody pass through. I don't know. I love that. I love being able to respect other people and show, it just seems rude if I walked up and opened a door and let it slam on somebody's foot or elbow behind me. It just feels rude to me. I can't do it. I was raised better than that. And so I was raised too, that my dad taught me that if you're sitting in a nice, comfortable chair and an elderly or older person walks in, then you're to get up out of the chair and offer the chair to them. I was just taught that. I must have taught my kids. I'm sure I did. And so I think things like that are really important to understand, that it makes the world a much better place to live in. And I think the more and more we see that go away, it's a different world out there. I don't know. Is it me? Am I getting older, or has the world started to change, especially here in the US? It seems to me that we're losing a lot of respect, dignity, of treating each other kindly and with love and respect. And I don't know. I feel like if we're good to people, that comes back to us. And if we're bad to people, that comes back to us. I don't know. I don't feel that I don't do things because I'm fearful if I don't, something bad's going to happen. I do it because I know it's the right thing to do. But I think the less we respect people, the less we love and encourage and work together with each other, it does turn out bad for all of us. We all suffer, but when we can help each other out, man, it goes a long way. That's why I love my YouTube channel. I feel like every opportunity I get to get in front of the camera and just let you guys know that I appreciate you. I love you. I respect what you do as beekeepers. And I'm here for you. I'm here to help you. I've got your back covered. All right, guys, thanks. I got a video that I want you to watch. Maybe you've not ever seen this video. I made it a few years ago, but it's going to be especially good for those of you who are thinking about getting into beekeeping, or maybe you're brand new and you don't know what you're doing. I got a video called How to Start Beekeeping. I'll see you guys over there.